I'm joined now by a public policy analyst in the person of Chibuzo Okereke. Thank you, Mr. Chibuzo, for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
Okay, we've heard from Nigerians as regarding, the priority areas that the Northwest Development Commission and the Southeast Development Commission should prioritize moving forward. But let's hear from you now. What, in your opinion, should be the key priority areas of the commissions?
Well, thank you very much. Let me start by commending Mr. President for assenting to these two important bills that have now become an act. For instance, the Southeast Development Commission Act has been long overdue. If you recall, after the Civil War, promises were made to the people of the Southeast in regard to the 3 R's of how the place will be rehabilitated, reconstructed, and more than 30 decades, rather more than 3 decades and counting, nothing has happened to keep to that promise. And when you talk about the focus of this commission, it's aptly captured in the principle at establishing them. And even the long title of the law states that it is for development of a region. And if you look at the key function, it said to set out policies that will ensure the development of this region. Interestingly, the way Nigeria is organized, every geopolitical zone, which in my opinion, we are arguing that we should not have development zones because politics has brought a lot of division and acrimony among the people. But if it's development zones, like we are seeing now through the commission, then we're able to focus on tackling the issues. The Southeast faces an existential threat with ecological challenges. Ecology of the environment is devastated. And we have the Ecological Fund Office of the Federation, and the state are expected to apply to that office to get certain funds to tackle ecological issues. With a commission like this, you can now attract funds there and other capital supplementation, and you're able to channel it to issue of development. I watched the chart you just read now about some of the tweets. Interestingly, the way people perceive ending insecurity probably is through the barrel of the guns. No, there are issues of poverty that are incidental factors to insecurity. There are issues of high level of illiteracy and other challenges. Commission like this will focus attention. It's like a trust fund, a special intervention directed at issue of development. So if you do this, Southeast can become the manufacturing hub of the Federation. Like somebody pointed out in the chat as well, the Northwest Development Commission will see to it that it becomes the food security of the Federation. Somebody said, dedicate the fund to ensuring that there is productivity in the farmland and actively engage the people. So these are some of the things the Commission will focus on, because this points to the fact that the subnationals continue to seem to be disempowered. And people are crying that there is too much power at the center. There is need for devolution. So when you see federal government establishing specialized institutions of this nature to bring about development intervention, it is part of that devolution, because certain funds that would have been managed centrally are now going to, percentages of it will now go to this commission to focus on that region. So South-South, we can develop a strong blue economy sector. In the North, we can develop a strong agricultural sector. In the East, manufacturing and innovation. In the West, financial and sector and what. So Nigeria has already. Then you have the solid mineral sector. You have the oil sector. When this is properly focused, and the principal act establishing this commission also created a special committee called the Monitoring Committee. My idea, I know why people are worried. Oh, why all these new commissions? So they are going to... No, they are rather going to bring about development, but attitudinal change is key for those who are going to be managers of those commissions. Again, the people must also be awake. Nothing stops you from going to occupy the Southeast Development Commission office if they are not delivering, because we have to hold government to account as citizens. Do not allow government to function for themselves. But for me and most Nigerians, this is a welcome development that is integrating the people of the Southeast and also, assuaging some of the promises that I've made in the past that nobody fulfilled.
In the words of Mr. Chibuzo Okereke, this is a welcome development, speaking to the recent signing into law, the Northwest Development Commission Act and the Southeast Development Commission Act. Let us go now on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues. My guest is still on standby to stay. And you are still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation which is on geopolitical development. As we did see recently, as the President Bola Tinubu, has signed into law the Northwest Development Commission Act and the Southeast Development Commission Act as well. And I still have my guest who is here with me in the person of Chibuzo Okereke, a public policy analyst. Thank you again for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Okay, you made a very elaborate description as to understanding what's brought about the commission, right, and priority areas basically from the northwest to the southeast and even to the southwest, yeah, if I remember correctly. But there are concerns, Mr. Chibuzo, especially looking back now in retrospect, talking about the NDDC and the corruption charges and allegations that came out of the establishment of the NDDC. But let's hear now from you. What lessons can these new commissions learn, especially from the successes of the NDDC, the challenges faced by the NDDC, and ensure that these mistakes are not repeated moving forward?
Yeah, so the idea of establishing NDDC was very important because we could see how the oil exploration activities had impacted on the livelihood of the people, on their farm. They are not able to farm and what have you. Now, NDDC Establishment Act made provisions as to the 13% derivative that goes to the 9 states that make up the NDDC. Now, it is the individuals who govern this particular commission, that have mismanaged activities and has not brought it to bring about the, requisite development that was, intended. Now, that led to the amnesty issue and what have you. So the NDDC, between that time and now, in the 9th Assembly, for instance, a probe was conducted on the NDDC, and it was discovered that thousands of projects were being abandoned. While that probe was being concluded by the National Assembly, the presidency set up a forensic audit team. Until today, nobody knows the whereabouts of that particular report. So the idea is that when people conceive, development strategies for the country, we should not politicize it. Largely the NDDC was politicized. It became a cash cow, like the evidences, were there. And then it became a patronage agency. Until today, people still talk about East-West Road and what have you. In fact, governors who are even advisory members of the NDDC board are now saying that the NDDC development activities disrupt their state development plans. That tells you that we work in silos. And the only reason that is happening is because people just want what will benefit them. So what is wrong in having a 10-year strategic plan for NDDC projects in anticipation of the funds they are going to receive? Then meet with the governors of the states of the NDDC and understand each state priority need and integrate it in the NDDC budget. So you can't establish a regional body for the development of that area and then use it to compensate back people that are in Abuja and what have you. That is one lesson that must be taken. Then issue of procurement, and that's why I call for the biggest oversight arm of any democracy are the citizens. The citizens must get involved. Let us not micro zone, tribe and religion. When you leave Nigeria, when you go to Nigeria, it's Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. When you come to Niger Delta, it's Ishekiri, this. When you come to Southeast, it's who is Nsukka or Anambra or whatever. So, because all those things are going to play out, even in the constitution of the board of recruitment of staff, you're going to be finding out which stock of the Igbo or not or Hausa, parts of the zone is properly represented. These are we should do things by merit, and we should focus on development of this sector. So NDDC or Southeast Development Commission doesn't have the road of their own. They have state, local government, and from A, B, and C roads. You need to now sit down with the stakeholders beyond the political class. Find out what are the priority needs across. We have 5 states in the Southeast. We have 7 states in the Northwest. You can actually, this delineation has been properly done. You can actually do adequate community engagement, needs assessment, so that it's from the people that you're generating your development priorities, and and the people will be involved. Yeah.
You made mention of, unfortunately, some trivialities that come into, cases like this, very unnecessary things that end up, taking the front burner in conversations. But that brings us now to the issue of transparency, accountability, and effective governance under these commissions. So what should be done differently this time to ensure that, the commissions and funds allocated to these commissions, are used effectively for the intended purposes? I know you mentioned the power that the citizens hold, but beyond the citizens coming out to clamor as usual, what else should be done to ensure that the funds are allocated rightly?
Patriotism, attitudinal change of the politician. No, this is not that, we have won something that we add to what we have. Is that we have attracted something that will bring about development of our people. Look at the devastation in the Southeast, the economic devastation, the shutdown of economic activities every Monday, the killings and the kidnapping, the threat to even primary school students not to go to school and what have you. Look at the road infrastructure. Look at the psyche of the people that in the last 8 years of the former administration, it was, in quote, told to the people of the Southeast that you brought 5%, and that is how we are going to respond to you. Now, you have another president who have said, we don't function that way. This is a development commission. It should take off immediately, just within 1 year of the administration. So you don't want to also politicize that kind of commitment and effort. You want it to bring development to the people. So one, I think the accountability model should change. It is not going to be an internal system or horizontal method as we have now. Let us have a situation where even the NDD, the South Development Commission or Northwest MDs will be able to give account to communities, to traditional institutions, submit their proposed budget. Let them agree, because you are there to serve them. Submit your proposed budget to them. Let them look at whether the items in the needs assessment report, through the engagement they had with you, is what has been reflected in the budget. And then when monies are expended, you get your procurement right. You also do quarterly or biannually or even annual, the same report you are sending to President, who is appointing authority, and to the National Assembly. Also make it available to traditional institutions, youth, organized youth groups, civil society, organizations within. Because you are salaried, every provisions are made for you. So what else is holding you for being transparent? Remember, these monies were somewhere unproductive before. Now it's channeled to a geopolitical zone development. So people that are managing it should be very transparent with it. And to do this is to be sure you are accountable to a multi-level stakeholders and not just a political structure that may at a point compromise, depending on what the issues are. Yeah.
But let us now look at the broader picture beyond the impact these, funds will have on these geopolitical zones. Looking at Nigeria as a whole, you made a very valid point. For instance, looking at the Southeast now, for quite a number of years, the Southeast, which is known for, industrialization and known to be very capitalist, I should say, have unfortunately not been able to go to, the marketplace on Mondays. But looking now at the broader picture, like I stated, what will the economic benefits be, say, in the long term, in a long time, maybe say 5 years from now?
Yeah, so when a special development intervention agency like this is created, you concentrate funds on critical infrastructure and other social development sectors. So what you're going to see, that before now, there's a Southeast Governors Forum. There's even a Southeast, for instance, Economic Summit group who have been meeting. At a point, even there was a Southeast Security Network that the chairman even resigned for lack of fund. So the 5 governors of the Southeast didn't have a pool of probably where they can bring resources together to tackle development of commonality. Right now, with this kind of commission, they are able to do capital supplementation to say this is a transversing road that is important to our economic development. Outside what the agency is receiving or the commission, we can come together and put these resources together and achieve this. So for me, in the next 5 years, I'm looking at a Southeast Development Commission that have restored the small businesses, the manufacturing industries in Aba, in Onitsha, that will, in Enugu, in Imo State, that will bring, encourage startups, businesses, and we can go and see testimony. We can see Southeast Development Commission that have delivered, important from AB roads that are connecting the entire, Southeast and even other parts, of the country. We're also looking at the coastal competitive advantage of the Southeast, being able to develop the blue economy, digital infrastructure. This is something, if you are to do it now, every state will be planning on their own. But states are not to work in silence if you want to achieve integrated development. So this is like a mediation a commission or government that will be able to bring everybody together to achieve development that affects, the entire 5 states. Because right now, it's not happening. It's not happening. There is nothing bringing the people of Southeast together as of today. That is why all the resolutions of the Southeast Development Commission, none of them have been implemented. The regional security outfit could not function over several reasons, including the chairman saying that have not been, funded. So maybe trust deficit or just people focusing on their state, but with a commission that is not named Southeast Development Commission. You can even have, a matching fund. An individual state can say the commission can have a product, special product. Maybe if you match 100 million, we will bring 100 million to tackle specialized social development sector in your state. So there are a lot that this commission is going to do, especially when it's professionally run. And that should be the interest. If the Southeast have been crying about marginalization all these decades, and be crying that Nigeria does not want people of Southeast, now a president has given you a commission. Don't join other people who are probably okay to use politics to run your own. It is time to focus and, address those issues you claimed you were marginalized about, because the commission has statutory funding system. And if there is a political undertone that does not want to resourcefully fund the commission, we should be able to know publicly that, this is for the optics, is showbiz commission, is not for development, because you need the resources to drive it, and it's not time. The commission must also focus on the manpower need, whether it's in the northwest, northeast, or southeast. We have to plan our manpower need and ensure, productivity in the value chain. Don't make the place an employment palliative zone. You have people that are competent locally and internationally. Use best standard to get people to work for the development of their, of the regions. And one of the key provision there is that they should work with a development plan. Right now, every state have their own development plan, yet all of them are in the southeast. None has met to sign any cooperation agreement on any aspect of development in the southeast. None of the governors, at least to my knowledge, since 1999. There is no day any governor went to Anambra or came to Abia or where I came from to say, I'm here to sign cooperation agreement with your state because we have, this in common, maybe transportation or youth development or women empowerment. It's not happening. So this is what this commission will address. That is if it's run efficiently and professionally. Yeah.
Well said, especially, talking about integration.
Yeah.
If the commission is run efficiently and like you rightly stated. But let's talk now about the Northwest, because obviously, you've talked about the Southeast. What are you expecting would be the key economic benefits of this commission?
Well, you see, the Northwest is facing existential threats across all fronts of poverty, high illiteracy, insecurity, and a number of other issues. Now, with a commission like this, you are now going to direct. They have, yes, Northwest Governors Forum, but just like the Southeast, I don't know how people see governance and development. There is no boundary because it's not the people of Northwest that are living in Northwest. They are in different parts of the state. They are not all in Kano. It's not Kano people are in Jigawa or in Sokoto and what have you. Now, somebody made a tweet there that talked about resettlement of people who have been displaced. Now, the federal government agencies, the Refugee Commission, Humanitarian, NEMA, all of them are here in Abuja, and their heads have to travel there to do any form of intervention. So with a commission that will be residential commission, and we don't want a commission that is for Northwest, but all the activity is in Abuja. And just like Southeast, data is very important. What is the household distribution? What are the needs? Is it housing issues? If you know Northwest, there are housing issues. There are issues of, population challenges, education, even people not willing to go to school.
Displacement as well.
Displacement as well. So how can the commission change orientation and bring about, development? And there is a Majiri school system that was introduced by President Jonathan. Nobody knows the state of that policy now. And because everybody will be focusing on their state in the Northwest, this kind of commission will help to midwife an Amajiri educational system that can try to bring, because make no mistake about it, when people are adequately educated, they're able to make informed decisions that can take them out of poverty. But I think that they should focus more on that resettlement issue, addressing issue of poverty, addressing issue of even the competitive advantage that Northwest has, which is agriculture, mining. This is central. Today, the mining sites have become death sentence for even communities. And it's not supposed to be so. And we're not saying commission go and be dragging right authority people. No. What we're saying is midwife a situation where all the states, the 7 states of the Northwest, are able to see a common vision of where they will be in the next 5 to 10 years. And people will not be looking at Abuja for everything. The philosophy in Nigeria is that everything is Abuja. And I laugh. I don't know about any state where the federal government have withheld their allocation for the month. They've been receiving it. They're even receiving their IGR. But if you touch them, they say Abuja, Abuja. So with this kind of commission, the citizens or residents of this area will now be focusing on what kind of benefits, they will get. And to be sincere, all these commissions should have measurable strategic goals. That is time bound. They should be able to say, in the next 1 year, not we will pull 15 million, we don't want sound bites. We want you to get real human beings, not Excel sheet names. Real human beings that have been affected. You take a TV station like Trust, go to their farms or their small businesses and tell us their success stories. This is what we want to see when you say there is a development policy of government. It's not that only you, government, know that policy. Only you know you have spent 12 billion. Only you know that 15 million people have benefited. But no other person is aware of those people. I mean, that is very strange. It shouldn't be. Yeah.
I would like for you to quickly, in 1 minute, speak to the issue of sustainability in this development, because, like you rightly stated, it's not enough just for changes to be put in place. There has to be a framework for sustainability. Yeah. So, in a minute now, I'd like to hear from you.
Leave politics. See, when something is about development, leave politicians out, and politicians in quotes, because there are politicians with credentials. They are well educated, they have quality personal development, they can drive change. Leave political compensation when you want to achieve certain level of result, except the person you're considering meets that qualification. And that is why I even worry about some of the laws, because the qualification criteria they have prescribed leave room for politics and discretion by the appointing authority. And people want to reinforce power. So I think that anything development commission in Nigeria, we should ensure that it's professionally run. Because most of them, World Bank, IMF, and many other organizations try to put intervention funds through them outside our own budgetary allocation. So it will be good that it is not just politics as usual. I would rather these institutions be run professionally so that people can see development. It's a very good idea. It's commendable. And just to round up, let me also commend the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is the founder of Peace in Southeast Project, and who sponsored this legislation. And they thank Mr. President for signing it. And then the entire caucus of the National Assembly from the Southeast, and of course the Deputy President of the Senate, who led the charge for the Northwest Development Commission. It is good. We shouldn't waste time to do Southwest, do North Central, and then focus on their competitive advantage in terms of natural resource or what they are known for. So that in the next 10, 20 years, you will say you are sufficient in these key areas.
Well said, Mr. Chibuzo Okereke, who is a public policy analyst, speaking to how we can, enjoy the full benefit in the ascent of the Northwest Development Commission and the Southeast Development Commission by the President. Thank you again for all the insights you've shared today on the program. This is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily, but join the conversation on social media. Let us hear what your thoughts are on the discourse for today. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.